Hi, I'm Brett Hoebel, and I want to welcome you to my vlog at bretthoebel.com. Today I want to share my story. Some of you may know who I am, and some of you may not. Well, I can sum it up with three things. The fat kid that didn't know he was fat, walk your talk, and fitness from within. So the fat kid that didn't know he was fat. I grew up as a really skinny kid that was very good at sports since a really young age. My mom put me in gymnastics at 2. And then I gained a lot of weight. So how did that happen? I had to think way back as an adult and sort of see what happened. Well, I grew up as an adopted kid. I was very lucky. I grew up with a loving family, 2 parents and 2 older sisters in Princeton, New Jersey. But I didn't look like my family. I didn't look like my parents. And I got teased for it. I had darker skin. I had big lips. I had more closed eyes. Oh, I heard everything. And that made me never want to feel ostracized, never want to feel out of the group or uncool or have the finger pointed at me. And I also grew up with a wheat allergy and was not allowed sugar. So what is in sugar and what is in wheat? Well, every food, for goodness sake. Imagine not being able to eat those things. It was like no hot dog buns or cake at parties and crackers and everything you can imagine. Always getting the finger. Why can't you eat that? What's wrong with you? And again, that ostracized feeling and not feeling accepted started to come out on a daily basis at school, in elementary school. And I remember just wanting that acceptance and starting to use food instead of my enemy, which I grew up with it, to being my comrade, to get high fives. So how did I do that? I started binging on the food. So instead of, oh, you can't eat pizza, right? Because you're allergic to wheat. It was, wow, you just ate 5 slices, 6 slices, 7. I started using food to get the attention, the positive high fives, instead of the negative attention. But what I didn't understand was I was abusing myself. I wasn't listening to that voice inside me that knew I was hurting myself. And that just wasn't a healthy thing to do. And I ended up gaining weight and more weight and developing a lot of bad patterns and habits and hiding things from my loved ones that were trying to care for me, including myself. So the fat kid that didn't know he's fat came out when I came in high school. At this point, I'd gained 50 pounds. And I weighed in at football season my freshman year at 170 pounds. And not too tall, so I was quite heavy. And I remember playing the sports and going out. One of my coaches said, you know, Brett, you know what they call you? They call you the fat kid that doesn't know he's fat. That hit me right in my gut. I remember feeling that burning feeling. I didn't like it. I didn't want to be fat. I didn't think I was fat. I didn't. That's why they call me the fat kid that doesn't know he's fat. Because when I stepped on the field or I stepped on the wrestling mat, the memories of me being a kid good at sports never left me. That confidence didn't go out when I stepped on the field. And it showed a lot of people something that I guess they didn't see in other kids that were normally overweight. But what it also did to me is it hurt to hear those type of comments. And I remember this, looking at the mirror, mirror on the wall will tell you you're the fairest of them all. But when you get a picture taken of you, the truth is right in front of you. You can't deny what's there. I would never get my picture taken. But at a school picture in high school, I remember getting it back and looking at it and being like, you've got a problem. You've got to stop being in denial. That was the first step to me changing my life around, was admitting I had a problem, accepting it, being okay with you let yourself go, but still being positive and saying, you're going to get it back. And through football, wrestling, lacrosse, luckily for my love of sports, I was able to have fitness be my freedom. So I went from the fat kid that didn't know his fat all of a sudden to walking my talk, where I would be on the lacrosse field or I'd be on the football field and I'd say, you're going to run 10 yards farther than them. You are going to go to an extra practice. That fueled what was inside of me. So then when I reached for the brownies or the extra food in the cupboard or in my pantry, I would stop myself and say, you made a promise to yourself. You gave your word to yourself that you weren't going to do that. And I continued to walk my talk. Or if I was going to try to hide food from my mom in my closet like I used to do, I would stop myself and say, you don't have to do that anymore. You're better than that. You're going to walk your talk. And it did. And it fueled something inside of me that I've said, it doesn't have a shape, a color. You can't smell it, you can't see it. It's called inner strength. And when I did that and I felt that strength, really, I applied that inner drive to every sport. So fitness was my freedom, and it became fitness from within, that drive that I did from upholding my word, to not abusing myself, from walking my talk, allowed the fitness from within to come out. And when I weighed in sophomore year, a year later at wrestling season, I came in at 120, 50 pounds lighter, from walking my talk and allowing fitness to be from within. So I encourage you guys, know your story. This is mine. I've had a lot of people in my life inspire me. I hope it inspires you. Hey, thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to staying in touch. Don't forget you can like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter for daily posts, events, and giveaways, but make sure you subscribe to my blog at bretthoebel.com for workouts, nutrition tips, and inspiration.